Wow, 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 wow. Happy Friday, all. John Duffin here, Duffin Media and Duffin Coaching. Welcome back to another episode of Optimize Your Communications. What do we get to do here? We get to optimize your communications by leveraging your voice. And what do I hope you get out of this? Well, here's the deal. I'm going to be providing 3 of my top tips that have worked for me. My hope is that I get you to speak, present, use your own emotional intelligence in a way that gets you results faster. If I can get you faster to the finish line, improving your results, improving your sales, getting what you need, getting the job, the promotion, building your teams, which is just as important to share the wealth and share the knowledge. If I get you to a place where your message is heard without distractions, well, and I get you there faster than it took for me to get there, then I really feel like I'm doing my job. So look, folks, I'm thrilled. If you're watching me live, give me a shout out. LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and also YouTube Live. And by the way, not even a by the way, a major shout out and acknowledgement to anyone who has served our country. It's Veterans Day. I'm thinking of you, Dave DeBellius, Nick Mershon, my dad, Michael Urban. My dad passed, but he's a Navy guy. Ed Watko, Rosalie McKenzie joining me live. And that is just a few of the people that I could name a myriad. Thank you all for your service. And anyone showing up for me live today, I'm thrilled. If you're watching on the replay, that's great too. So, hey, what I was thinking about for today is the following in regards to what could we do to better optimize your communications, right? And it keeps coming back to your energy, my energy, using your energy. It keeps coming back to that to me because, you know what I'm realizing? Energy is a privilege. It might sound weird, right? But energy is a privilege and a gift. And it's really important to optimize your energy. Because I'll just speak for me. And if anyone else has got a thought or opinion, drop it in the comments, especially Facebook and Facebook and LinkedIn Live, because I'll see them more immediately. If you're watching on YouTube Live, go rate, pound the notifications, like, share. I'm thrilled that you're all here. But here's the thing. While it's an end of a week for this specific conversation that we're having, this applies to me any day and every time of day. So let me ask you something. Now, this is coming from a guy who has been told I have a lot of energy. I'll take it. And by the way, I often take it as a compliment, although sometimes it's not. So I'd rather focus on you. Anyone that's watching or listening here, would you think that you have a fair amount of energy? Yes or no? Type energy in the chat. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you think you're a type of person that has natural, strong energy to get something done, to say what you want to say, to be able to finish a job, to get things done? Okay, some days indeed. And I'm going to tell you, absolutely, this is not a unification. Oh my God. My podcast announcer, public address announcer, voiceover pro, all around good guy. And again, when you listen to my podcast, the open and close, you get to hear John McBride. Yay. Love it. John McBride. Absolutely. I concur. Here's the deal. Here's why I'm bringing it up. So for me, I'll speak for me. Yes, I have a fair amount of energy. Does my energy waver? Oh my God, 100%. So I'm going to go even further than some days. I'm going to say sometimes of each day. Is there a variance? Right? So I don't know if that's for you. So say for instance, of course I can get up early. Of course I do at this point. Read so many $1 Million Morning books that I feel like guilty if I'm not getting up. But I don't get up at the crack of dawn. And one of the reasons I don't, maybe it's laziness, but also what it is that is not my natural clock by any stretch of the imagination. It does take me a little while to warm up physically emotionally and also with my voice. So here's the thing. The focus and point of today, where we're going in regards to the tips, is simply this. Sometimes you don't get the choice to determine what time of day is optimum for you. You got an 8 o'clock meeting. What are you going to do? Show up. Suit up and show up. By the way, that's what we're calling today's tips. Suit up, show up, and wow them. Very often, you don't get control of setting the meeting, setting the opportunity. John McBride, geez, is a PA announcer, the best of the best, right? And it's not just the Philadelphia region. It is the East Coast, and you will hear John's voice. A lot of these events, and I can really speak to this because John has helped me secure speaking opportunities with a couple of events. These are early starts. So me saying when I went to the event and they said to show up at 5 a.m. and me saying, well, see, that's not a great time for me. I'm typically better around 9, maybe 10. Not only do they not want to hear it, they'd laugh in your face. So you want the job, you want the opportunity, you suit up and show up. Now, here's what I want to talk about today. You have more control than you think in regards to that. No, they made me get here at 8 a.m. So right off the bat, Tommy Kenyon, podcast host, Summit of Greatness, colleague of mine, an all-around good guy with a great voice. Love it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being here. So to me, one of the things I think about is this. Tip number 1, do not bring your baggage to the show, right? You're showing up at 5 a.m. Do you think they want your bad mood? Do they think you want, and I'm doing this intentionally, I'm going to take this slide off, hello, John, for a reason, right? Let me check my email first and see if, okay, leave it go. We've talked about this in other coaching sessions. Do not check your messages unless you're looking for something specific from that client. And here's your pro tip, by the way. As you're communicating with the client, go into a text exchange. Better yet, a call exchange, but that's hard sometimes with logistics. Go into a text exchange so that you do not have to go scrolling through emails that could do nothing but freak you out, get you concerned, remind you that, I've got to handle this when I'm done. Folks, people will hear that in your voice. And all of that natural energy that I talk about can be mixed with baggage. Leave the troubles go. We have talked about speaking and your breathing before the event. The reason why that breathing, the Navy SEALs breathing technique, again, shout out to the service people, why it matters is because you don't want to be bringing anything but your intentions, your natural energy, your natural focus. So leave the other distractions go, right? You can come right back to them after the event is over. So I had an event, courtesy of John McBride, by the way, where I spoke. I was the PA announcer for the Philly bike ride event. Great event. By the way, I had never been to it before. It was the second year in Philly, and they got a great turnout. Over 5,000 cyclists, right? So I'm there, and I could have been thinking the following. I've never done it before. I hope this works out because, so 2, the weather wasn't great, right? I wasn't riding the bike, so I wasn't directly impacted, but they were calling for rain, and they got it. So often the weather can be correct sometimes. So if I am bringing that with me, how do you think I would sound? Well, it's probably going to rain. Okay, let's get it going. People hear that, right? So, and it's also, here's the pro tip. It's a little selfish. You're worrying about yourself. You're worrying about circumstances you can't control. Let those go, okay? Let that nonsense go. When I go back to saying you have more control than you think, this is not a Pollyanna thing, but this is more of a factual thing. You're focusing on a specific situation when you speak. If you are presenting, say, to a client, team meeting, an opportunity to be able to deliver. If, hey, any of my broadcast, digital, streaming, ad sales leaders, executive managers, if they're anywhere near this conversation, throw your hand up, drop a note in the comments, just because, again, each conversation is a singular matter, right? So you want to remember that 9 a.m. where you're going to present to get the sale, where you're going to present your company, you're going to present your real estate listing, they are all singular opportunities. So you have that control to focus. None of your other baggage is so important that it can't wait an hour, a couple of hours. None of it. So what I'm suggesting is this: really get singular in focus. By the way, I was noticing a comment from John McBride. I'm checking it out as we speak. The controlled energy part, this is big. So, by the way, anyone watching this, read this comment. There is so much actual benefit to pay attention in terms of your pacing and timing. And I think that part is awesome. The sense of escalation. I'm going to refer to the term as anthemic as well, too. I think this feedback is great, John, and I think you're right, and I think it matters. So to me, tip number one, remember, you've got more control than you think, so leave the other baggage go so that you are literally speaking freely and clearly, right? It's terribly important to do that. Number two, listen to feedback. Take the suggestion. Here's a story that I'll share with you. Well, actually, two that I'll share with you in regards to how this could have hurt me and helped me a ton. Number one, I was at a conference. This is 2 years ago. I work with a high performance coach. If any of the all-star coaching crowd, Dave Scatchard and the crew are listening, Rosalie McKenzie, you may have physically been there when I give this example, right? So we arrive at what was a mastermind event. There was a handful of people, maybe 7 people. Now, there was nothing about this that was problematic. We were going to the coach's home, which is ridiculous. It's spectacular. Architectural Digest, it's Better Homes and Gardens. This has probably been on multiple covers, right? It is amazing. So that's a privilege, right? It's a small group. And I think I knew every one of the people, if I remember correctly, but we hadn't physically met before. So it was a friendly environment, a friendly situation. We get there Friday evening, and I don't know what triggered it. I've thought about this. I don't know what triggered it, but here's the problem. I started getting really tense and edgy. I don't know what I was worried about. I don't know. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Sometimes when you talk about the baggage, right, such things will just pop into your mind that will trigger a problem. So here's how this went down. We're introducing ourselves. We're on the coach's couch, which is massive and could hold probably, 1,000 people. It was a great sofa. But here's what I'm going to say. We're just sitting comfortably on the sofa. We're introducing ourselves. That was the big challenge, right? And so we're introducing ourselves. And I was thrilled to be there, but I could feel the tension. The word that was used to describe my voice and demeanor was frenetic. Here's the real problem. I knew they were right. And I couldn't explain why it was going on. And I pride myself in terms of the way that I speak and the way that I prepare and my natural sense. Like, it's taken me a lot of years and banging my head to get comfortable being around people, right? So when it doesn't work, I get deflated. So why am I bringing all that baggage up? That was brought to my attention. Did I want to hear it? No. Was I happy? No. But the fact of the matter is, it was still brought to my attention. So I had a couple of choices, right? I had a couple of choices. Number one, I could have acted huffy and pushed back, for instance, and I've seen people do this. No, you don't understand. This is a problem because of blah, blah, blah. And then have you heard people do that? Anyone? When somebody gives feedback or criticism, constructive criticism, that's the word. These weren't insults. Have you ever heard anybody push back? Yeah, me too. And I have. How do you think it sounds? The sound of your voice. How do you think it sounds? Not just your words, but the way that it sounds. Does it sound diplomatic? Does it sound engaging as you were pushing back? Here's what I want to plant this seed. The physical seed of pushing back requires tension and constriction. Think of you pushing back a boulder, right? There's my physical example. Here's your pro tip, right? When you push back, think of a boulder and you're pushing and pushing and I don't believe it and I don't know. Oh no, this is because of this. This is because I had to sign a waiver. This is because there was somebody there that was saying something I might not have liked. Okay. Do you think anyone wants to hear that? Picture you're leading a team meeting. Picture you're contributing to a team meeting and you're throwing that kind of pushback. How do you think it sounds? You're in a client meeting and they throw an objection. This is why, yikes indeed. Think about this. The next time somebody is giving feedback, and here's what I'm going to say, position it this way too. You're speaking with clients. That's my domain, right? You're presenting to clients. I've done it for over 25 years. I still do, right? And I understand the vibe. It's typically incumbent upon them that they're going to voice some sort of a concern, right? Your job is not to sound like I need to push you back. What am I saying with all of that? Maybe listen to them. Maybe listen to them. Maybe try it another way. Who knows? They might be right. Even if you are correct, even if you are the one and they don't get it, it doesn't sound good. And your job is to come to a favorable conclusion. SAG-AFTRA just concluded their strike. You want to hear a very fun example? They just concluded a great, powerful strike. It was awful in terms of what the terms that they were getting fed, the actors that are taking, why everyone's been on strike. It had to do with AI. It has to do with terrible terms. It had to do with a lot of things that would have crippled actors trying to get and keep work. So who's leading the charge? I'm not going to put her picture up because of copyrights and stuff like that. Who remembers the nanny? Yeah, this is the nanny. And she secured the nanny $1 billion deal with her voice. Google her, Fran Drescher. She's outstanding. There's nothing about her voice that sounds like orator. But you know what she does? She involves herself in two-way conversations, and that's what I'm suggesting to you. Here's the conclusion in Arizona. All that to say that, right? Sorry, Tommy. I know. Yikes, indeed. Maybe it's because the story's so long. Here's the conclusion. Here's how you get best utilize this information. So I took advantage of it. And I mean, so we were on some crazy hike the next day and then doing yoga and whatever. Oh, and some breath work and mind work. And as a result, and I participated at 100% all in. Didn't climb the mountain that day, but I mean, I participated. And here's the result. People were saying to me on Sunday, it was a weekend event, oh my God, John sounds like a different person. Laughs easily, sounds, so calm and together. And here's what happens. When you sound more engaging, you are more engaging. That's just how it works. So this part about you have more control than you think, watch the room, read the room, listen. Because maybe it's a matter of taking a breath or two. Maybe it's a matter of how do you solve this? Slow your speaking down, perhaps. When you slow your speaking down, here's the actual example. So if I need to tell you, just suit up, show up, and wow them, because this is great, because I want to show you feedback, blah, blah, blah. That's frenetic, just one variation, right? Here's two. It's really helpful if you pay attention to what is being said from others or their body language or the reaction and use it, because you're now in an engaging communication, and engaging communications get results. You want to close the sale, you want to seal the deal, you want to engage with somebody. You want to get that promotion. You want to get somebody to think when you leave the interview, oh, they were cool. They were cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, they were cool. Let me see the resume again. That's engaging. If you're a realtor and you've got a listing, you want somebody to give you their listing. Typically what they're thinking is, oh, they sound cool. They're not saying, oh, they have a good speaking voice. They sound engaging. Take the feedback, okay, and work with it. Very often, even in the client situation, they're rooting for you to succeed. If you're speaking to an audience, they're rooting for you to succeed, right? It's not pleasurable, it's not desirable to be a part of a bad meeting, right? Yeah, breathing is good. Breathing is really good, because if you don't breathe and you're speaking like this, you might sound a little bit, I don't know, desperate. Again, we're all about results here. Duffin Media, Duffin Coaching. This optimizing your communications by leveraging your voice. We're all about it. So that's tip number 2. Listen to the feedback. Take the suggestion, right? And then focus on the matter at hand. It is so easy to bring yourself back to a confident, sounding good, sounding engaged, sounding in control, that when you are focusing on the matter at hand. This frenetic story never gets old, by the way. Michael Plishka, who I love to death, by the way, one of my favorite, creative genius. Please pay attention to Michael and Zen storming. You should be working with this guy. If you want an enhanced creative, talk to him. Meanwhile, yeah, a lot less frenetic is the intention. People don't like being talked at, remember? They want to be spoken to. Talked at is that frenetic, blah, blah, blah. Look at the slide, look at the data, blah, blah, blah. That's at. Talk to somebody. You can focus on the matter at hand. You can focus on an individual. You can focus on the fact of the matter. You can focus anytime, brother. You can focus on the situation. Focus on the story. Right? As you're speaking, remember, we're telling a story. The way that you speak should match what's going on in the story. Let me give you an example. So, and by the way, John McBride, in an earlier comment, which I'm bringing back again, really alluded to this. So there is a voice coach. Now, as I transition from directly working to, for, and collaboratively with broadcast communications, streaming companies, and clients and agencies, I set up shop with Duffin Media. And so one of the gifts that I've been able to give is using my voice over voice narration. You know what the real gift is? When you work with individuals, coaches that are really good, have chops. So I'm going to bring up a gentleman by the name of Tom Pinto, who I am such a big fan of. By the way, he's a current working narrator. He's doing the current CNN campaign, right? So he knows his way around narration, corporate narration, which is presenting, okay? So here's what Tom Pinto has typically said. You want to start strong when you are, say, leading a presentation, leading a meeting. You want to start strong, but you don't want to take somebody's head off. You're just trying to naturally come into play. So if you're speaking and you're saying, today I want to talk about something really important because this impacts you as my client. Well, who's buying that, right? Who's buying that? Too calm. Engage somebody without coming off as the joke teller at the casino. Hey, right? It's your natural energy, but you're starting strong. You want to bring people in. Don't rely on the words. Rely on the story. Every story, why I bring up Tom Pinto, every story has sequences and parts. Think of this when you're presenting, whether it's at Toastmasters. Tommy Kenyon is a Toastmasters guy. I've been a part of Toastmasters. Think of it because each part of the story has a different feel, vibe, and tone. Pay attention to that part. Yeah, it is like a song. It starts out with a hook. It's got to get you somehow. Each part of what you're trying to say is a part of a story, and really a story in itself. So make sure the way that you're speaking is doing two things. And this might sound like a lot. It's not. It's only two things. You're resonating with the client, the audience, the individual, whoever it is, one person, two people, 1,000 people or more, right? Resonate in that direction, number one. And then number two, the way that you fully understand a presentation is not memorization. It's not. It's a risk. It's a real opportunity to get tripped up. It is know the story. I just watched a presentation Wednesday evening. I was in Washington, D.C., and I loved it. Loved the presenter. I'm biased. I'm a big fan of this presenter. But here's what I'm going to say. Here's a number one thing that you can do that will help you, which is remember, reading data is tough, especially when there's a lot of data. It's a great opportunity for you to sound lost. So what do? What's the story of what you're about to present? That singular slide. What are you trying to say with these supporting bits of data and stats and graphs? And I'm waving my hands around intentionally because it can be distracting, so much data. Here's my suggestion. If you know what you're trying to say, or you should, okay, folks, I know there's a lot of data here. Here's, in essence, if you get nothing more than this, we'd like to focus on, and whatever that is, and speak to that. And now your voice sounds more conversational because it should be. Data should not be read in a monotone. Data should not be read as a speech, but build to that point. And again, so it's only two things, but they're two big things, because otherwise you can get lost. And if you get lost, you sound like you're not as interested. You sound distracted. And what do you think the audience does if you're distracted? I have been becoming a teaser. I like that. Give them a reason to listen and watch. I got you. Thank you, Tommy. But here's what I'm going to say. If you sound distracted, they're checking out. You may get them back again. You may not. But what I'm telling you point blank is this. There's a real risk that they check out and you may not get them back. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is simply this. I want people to give you that standing O, whether it's one person, whether it is a group of people. Remember, you don't often have control of situational stuff. Well, I don't sound my best because I haven't had my coffee, or I don't sound my best because, my voice doesn't wake up until, well, you sometimes are just going to need to. You don't get infinite control as to what time an important meeting, speech, presentation, or somebody who needs you. So you need to be ready, right? Leave the other baggage go. Easiest way to get yourself to snap into gear, leave the other baggage behind. Number two, as they said, you're going to then, in essence, make sure that with all of this, as I said, in terms of the additional information, if someone is giving you feedback visually or verbally, take it. Take it. Give it a shot. Take the suggestion, right? And then number three on the recap, focus on the matter at hand. Using the physicality is literally, if you feel more comfortable standing and the opportunity presents itself, do it. Gives you maybe a little bit fuller of a voice, a little bit more control, right? I like standing when I speak, but I'm okay seated, right? And sometimes you don't get the choice in a Zoom or a StreamYard session. You don't get the choice. So those are my 3 tips for today. Again, the intention, the whole point of this is 3 things that you could use as early as today, now, your next conversation, your next meeting. Do yourself a solid. If you do take nothing else from today, take the suggestion that when you are ready for your 2 o'clock, your 3 o'clock, your whatever o'clock, regardless of what happens at the 1 o'clock or the 1:30, leave the 1:30 behind. Leave it in the car, right? Leave it in the car, whatever the case may be. Go back and get it after the meeting's over. Pick up all the bags if you want to drop them on the ground. Have yourself a good cry. Worry about whatever. Do it. Just not in that moment. Just not. Let it go. Just let it go. Because you got a job to do. We got results to deliver. None of this matters if we're not delivering results for our teams or building teams or hiring, staffing, or generating revenue. None of this matters if we're not doing that. So those are my 3 tips for the day. Hey, and I got an extra incentive bonus, by the way. Bonus, right? This will cost you nothing. I'm calling it, and there's no slides to show. Sorry. The gift of done. I think that's a copyrighted statement, by the way. So take it for the intention that it is. The gift of done. I've been offering this, and we're going to roll it in through today as well, too, which is the following. I know there are people that want to speak more, host a podcast, do more social media content, more video content. You know why? Because they talk to me constantly. Hey, I'd like to do more. So that's how I know. Here's the rub. So often it is set up with, I'd like to do a podcast, or I think I'm going to do a podcast, or I've tried to do a podcast. I hate all those words. Have I ever used them? Of course. But I don't like those words. Why? Because they're not done. It's just sitting there. Here's how I can help. One lucky winner will get the following. And I just did it this week. Got some glowing testimonials. The last time I did it was literally a few days ago. By the way, here's the good news for you. What I did takes about 1 hour of your time and my own. Here's exactly what I'm offering. I will help you get it done. Meaning, so one of my favorite platforms, I'm not an ambassador, I just like it because it's easy, is the one that we're on called StreamYard. But this works on Zoom, it works on Riverside, it works on StreamYard, obviously, which is, I've set up my own podcast. I've recorded close to 100 episodes. I'm getting ready to record my 100th and I'm really excited, right? But what I want to say is that with all of that being said, I've recorded a lot, banged my head a lot, landed on my backside a lot, whatever, right? And so the fact is, I can help you get there faster. I now know how to operate the stuff. Here's how it would go down, right? You would talk to me. Hey, I want to do a podcast about X. We would have a setup conversation. I then would literally walk you through the process of StreamYard. You may be, I'm not ready. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. So this is where I get to, same dumb analogy, put a boot into your rear end and we say we're going to go. So I help you navigate, touch this button, do this, hit that button, move there, right? Set the camera, set a mic, done. You then record. Guess what? You're done. I then compound the effort by reviewing the podcast and giving you detailed feedback. The value of that offer is, and I'm being conservative now, $500, easy, because it's about an hour of my time. I've learned I'm pretty good at this, and the testimonials bear it out. So what can I offer? One winner. Here's how this goes down. Okay. So glad for those that hung out with me for this whole thing. And I went a few minutes long. So I am really grateful that you showed up for me today. So I'm typing, and I hate when people do this. Sorry. But there you go. That's my email address, right? jd@duffinmedia.com. In the subject matter of the email, I want you to type one single word, and the word is podcast. That's your word, right? Your word of the day. Send me an email, subject podcast. After that, you can say whatever you want. Whatever, right? I don't care. I'm happy to hear you. But you send me the email, jd@duffinmedia.com. Subject, podcast. I will then help you. We will get this done. I'll get you up and running, because here's the great part. Once you get done, it's so easy to get doner. I know that's not a word. But once you're done and you're rolling, all the rest of the stuff goes so easy. So easy. So that's my tease, which is one winner gets me for an hour to literally get you in gear, get you done. And I hope that's you. You want to participate? Send me the email, jd@duffinmedia.com, subject matter podcast. Then I'll know you're serious. And when I know you're serious, I'll find one lucky winner, and that lucky winner will get the move and get it in gear and go. It's been a privilege for me. And by the way, I thank you because having this conversation today is a real privilege for me. So this is why and how I get to optimize your communications by leveraging your voice, by using the best, most authentic. I'm tapping my chest for a reason. That's where my best voice happens to be, my middle voice, as I call it, right? I want to find that for you. Each and every single one of you are capable and ready and have something to share. If it's been on your mind, if it's bothering you, if it's causing you some lost sleep, well, then let me help you, right? And this way, as I said, I'm offering that to one lucky winner who will be announced, and I will take care of that for them. For those that don't win and want that additional help, we'll talk. Send me the email anyway, right? Folks, this is John Duffin here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Thanks so much for checking us out. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, you'll optimize your communications by leveraging your voice, and then you'll get to optimize your life. Have a great day, all. John Duffin here. Be well. Bye.